Hey YouTube, Brian LCS. Thanks for stopping by the channel and this video, The Amazing Spider-Man #2 review. So let's jump in. And we are picking up right where we kind of left off from last issue. We see Peter at his home. He's got a knock on the door and in walks Norman Osborn. And they kind of go back and forth, trade a few jabs. And, Norman tells Peter, hey, I hear you're kind of down on your luck and looking for a job. So he offers him up a job. He tells him to meet at a place in a certain time, and he'll let him know what the job is. And Peter's on time. He shows up, and lo and behold, he is babysitting Norman's grandchildren. So not your typical, web-slinging adventure here, but I guess a job is a job when you need money, right? Then we cut to Tombstone. Last issue, his mansion was blown up by the Rose, and so a war is brewing between the Rose and Tombstone. And Tombstone's daughter, Lady Beetle, shows up and saying, hey, Dad, I want to help you. I'm capable. And he basically reminds her, says, look, what I'm about to do is not, I'm not being your dad. And you need to kind of just step away from this because it's going to get ugly. And so he convinces her to, kind of back away from whatever is about to happen. And we see in this scene here, or these panels, where Tombstone grabs a pair of pliers and makes mention of $2,000 for each cap on his teeth. And he removes those caps. And so Peter finishes up his babysitting gig, and then he's out swinging around as Spider-Man with the intent to go find Tombstone. So Spidey ends up finding White Rabbit, and it's not even mentioned here, but if you can see down in this panel, there's Mysterio's, it looks like Mysterio's costume. And in last issue, if you remember, they were trying to sell Green Goblin's or Hobgoblin's glider. So there's something going on with some of the Spidey villains here and some of their, weaponry and gadgets. So not sure where that's going. There's not really much mention of it, but it does seem like it's tying in somehow. So Peter comes across, like I said, White Rabbit and one of the other thugs, and he deals with them and basically says, hey, where's Tombstone? Where can I find him? I'll cut you this deal. I'll leave you be. I won't call the police if you give me Tombstone's whereabouts. And so they do. And then Spidey turns the old switcheroo on them, webs them up and says, make sure you tell the cops when they get here that, I don't cut deals. So splash page there. And then now we are up at another location, Crime Master and his goons. Now Crime Master has been trying to kind of play both sides in this war between Tombstone and the Rose, and actually selling some weapons to each, trying to sell some weapons on each side, make a little money and stay neutral. But Tombstone shows up and says, hey, you need to pick a side. War is coming, and you can't play the middle here. And we see down here that Tombstone now has his jagged teeth, not his capped teeth. So Spider-Man is now off, and he comes across Tombstone, and Tombstone has basically leveled Crime Master's, army here, and he makes mention of, getting 2 truckloads of guns, preparing for the war. And, Spidey basically says, hey, I'm not going to just let you, do this. And so Tombstone certainly is looking for a fight. And Tombstone was sitting in the back of a truck. And so the fight begins, and they are inside the truck, and they're kind of going, toe to toe here. And then the door closes in on Spidey. And now he's trapped in the, this back of this truck with Tombstone. So kind of a close quarters fight, which certainly would give Tombstone the advantage, where Spidey can't swing around. And then the walls start closing in, making it even closer quarters. And so Spidey realizes this, and he's trying to put up a fight here. But, in close quarters, like I said, he's at a little disadvantage. Tombstone gets the best of him, basically puts him in a bear hug and basically squeezes him out. And Spidey goes unconscious. And then we see them into some type of warehouse. And before the door closes, we see White Rabbit again. So you can see this was kind of all of the master plan, a setup that Spidey kind of overlooked. And that's it. So to be continued. Overall, I thought this was a really good story. There's an old, character, Norman shows up, right? We get Spidey, out trying to track down Tombstone. We're getting some gang violence, and then we get a battle with Tombstone and Spidey, and then ultimately, a cliffhanger. So overall, I really thought it was a good issue, read very quickly, moved along. We didn't learn much about the previous events that have kind of kicked off this and what's led to Peter in a bad situation again, where, family and friends are upset with him, and has a lot of, medical bills. He's, without a job, but we didn't get much of that piece of the story. And we didn't see Mary Jane at all, right? There was kind of a little bit of a introduction of where Mary Jane is now, and she's with somebody else, and she's not really talking to Peter at all. So that was a little disappointing that we didn't get that information, but there was enough threads here, I think, between Norman Osborn showing up, what's going on with the, Spidey villains, costumes and weaponry, that, if I'm looking at my 5-web rating system, I'm going to go with 4 webs. This, for me, was a solid story. I thought the JR art was much better. His art is actually really good when he's drawing just characters. When he's drawing Peter out of Spider-Man's, costume, I think this artwork is solid. I think where he gets a little clunky sometimes is in some of the action scenes. I'll show you here. We'll go back to it. So, this Spider-Man swinging looks good, but I was actually back here. I think the positioning sometimes where he puts Spider-Man, like him dropping through the ceiling. Overall, the art looks good. It's just a little, I don't know. It seems a little funky to me, but, obviously Spider-Man is, swinging, crashing through. He's, an acrobat. So he's going to get his body into some weird positions. But I just think sometimes JR's art is just, can get a little clunky when he tries to get a little unique with the positioning of Spider-Man. So, but overall, like I said, good story. Definitely interested in seeing where the story goes. This was a fast-paced, kind of a quick read, but I did enjoy it. So like I said, I'm sticking with the 4 webs. Hopefully we'll get a 5-web book out of this series, but we'll see. So that's it, guys. Let me know what you think. Are you reading this? There was one cover, the Goblin cover, that I really was trying to get, but my LCS was out of it. So I'm looking forward to maybe trying to pick that up. But let me know. Let me know what you think. Are you reading this? What do you think of this so far? if you are, and if not, let me know what you think of my review. And that's it, guys. We'll see you soon.